Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. A local teenager is a suspect of several car thefts, and find out why Addison Township residents will be living safer.
Stay tuned, learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. A police chase resulted in the arrest of a 16-year-old Oxford High School student. The teen was seen speeding on Seymour Lake Road when officers tried to stop him. He drove into a field, lost control of his car, and crashed into bushes. When officers approached the teen, he then ran off into the woods. The car the teen was driving was a 2011 Chevy Cruze, stolen from the area near the crash. Several police cars clocked him driving over 90 miles per hour. But recognized the teen and were able to arrest him at his Oxford home. He has been charged with 3 felony counts: fleeing and eluding, resisting and obstructing arrest, and concealing stolen property. In addition, the boy's mother told police she has become afraid of him due to his anger towards her.
Addison Township residents can rest a little easier when it comes to health emergency treatment because the fire department just received the latest of 2 chest compression machines added to their arsenal of life-saving equipment. This latest piece of equipment was made possible by a federal grant from the Emergency Management Agency's Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program. Assistant Chief John Beach said it would normally have taken about 5 years to save enough money for this equipment. However, thanks to the grant program, the almost $16,000 compression unit will not cost the fire department nor any of the residents any out-of-pocket expense.
Local longtime Oxford Village residents Richard and Twyla Stone recently celebrated 60 years of marriage. They were married September 4th, 1955 in the Oxford United Methodist Church by Reverend Fred Clark. The Stones have 3 children, 6 grandchildren, and 10 great-grandchildren. Richard spent 30 years with General Motors, then went to work for the Oxford Village Department of Public Works in 1986. Along with being an at-home mom, Twyla was an employee of Jacobson's Flowers in Lake Orion for 15 years. Asked how their marriage endured 60 years, Twyla said, "Don't sweat the petty stuff. Don't say hurtful things, and apologize, and never give up on each other." Good advice for every married couple. From OCTV staff, happy anniversary, Richard and Twyla.
While en route to a domestic complaint, village officers were alerted by dispatch that a man living at the address had an outstanding warrant for a felony. The resident was arrested, jailed at Oakland County for additional processing.
Oakland County officers were sent to the Lapeer Road Myers store on a complaint by the store security that a man was seen taking price tags off merchandise and concealing the items in his clothing. Police were given a description of the young man, and they were waiting for him when he left the store. He tried running from the officers on foot, but he was quickly captured and searched. Over $160 of merchandise was recovered and returned to the store. The young man was issued a citation for third-degree retail fraud.
A young man from Metamora was spotted by Myers employees concealing items in his clothing, but checking other items through the register. When the man left the store, security detained the man until Oakland County Sheriff deputies arrived. Officers found the concealed merchandise and returned it to the store, and he was given a citation for third-degree retail fraud and is barred from all Myers stores forever.
And police received a call from a resident living on Hunters Hill in Oxford complaining that while the homeowner and his wife were away, someone tried to break into their home. The homeowners found the back door screen ripped off and pry marks on the door jamb and lock. Officers inspected the damage and found the burglar was not able to gain entry. The case is still under investigation.
Police were alerted to a teenaged runaway because the boy wanted to visit his father in the Upper Peninsula. The mother explained her son was in her custody and the father had a criminal past. When she told her son he could not go up north, he became upset and slammed out of the house. Police have leads and are currently trying to locate the youngster.
A retail business in Oxford reported to police that a young lady attempted to steal a pair of compression shorts from the store. The attempt was recorded on store security surveillance video, and store security was able to stop and detain the alleged thief until officers arrived. Merchandise was returned to the store, and the girl was issued a ticket for fraud. Wow.
Seems like there's a lot of thievery going on these days, I'm telling you. And something like compression shorts is not like stealing food or something. Food is almost acceptable.
That could be a really a good necessity. I mean, something you got to have, you know.
Compression shorts, I think, for running or something. I don't know. But
I don't understand that part of it either.
Too bad. It's just too bad that people feel like it's okay to steal other people's stuff, even though it's from a store. That costs all of us, and we've had this conversation before. But
right, they should build into this product some way. If you didn't buy it, maybe on your way out the store, you know,
it explodes.
Explodes or turns into a big
or kind of like
cloud.
bank money. The ink goes all over the place.
Or turns into a skunk that follows you home. I have no idea.
Between cars and items at the grocery store, it's just really disappointing to see people don't have the ethics that they should. Everybody's our brother, right?
Right.
It should be.
Well, what do you think about the government activities that are going on within this area? Should we talk
Speaking
about
of taking money or taking things, I don't know. I was listening to your show, Minutes by Minutes, and of course my ears perked up when you talked about the township meeting the other night where Ed Hunwick, who's the board chair for our commission, the cable commission, made a presentation to the township. They're rattling, or there's talk about them wanting to cut the fees that they give us in half because the other communities are only giving half, which would really hurt us. And then Ed gave the presentation that we are considering spending that on a building somehow. And everybody's an armchair quarterback, in my opinion. This is only my opinion, but then all of a sudden everybody on the township board wanted to come up with their expertise on where we should be. If only they attended our meetings, it might be easier to swallow, but we've had this discussion for years.
Of course, considering the source that came from Minutes by Minutes, it could be just strictly a rumor.
Well, I was at that meeting, so I saw a lot of it, and it was hard for me to keep my mouth shut, and I try to be respectful. But I did find out afterwards, then Ron Davis made a presentation that he wants a building out at Seymour Lake Road, and it was suggested that we go out there with them, which in my opinion, and in the advertising world and the broadcast world, we need to be visual. We need to be visible. Right.
We need to be one of those guys.
We've already discussed that many times in many meetings that I'm sorry that some of the township people haven't seen. It just wouldn't work very well for us. But I have a feeling it has to do with money, and they really want that. They want to keep that half of that 5%, and really that money belongs to not even taxpayers, but the people that actually purchase cable.
Well, people
and
that
they already
say
made the commitment to give us that money in the first place. But anyhow, that's my opinion.
I found that when people say it's not about the money, it is about
the money. It's exactly about the money. It's about who wants more of it, and in my opinion, we have a very healthy township, and we have a very healthy budget in that township. And I think that also Parks and Recs, which I fully support, can manage to stay within the boundaries of their budget. And I know that when the township sold that building downtown to the school, or excuse me, to the new, it's going to be a new brewery or something.
A brewery, yes.
That money is supposed to go to Parks and Recs or Community Center, and that's a healthy amount of money. That's $450,000. So us going in with them is a good idea, that we all work together. It's a great idea, but it's not a good idea for us being way down there. We need to be visible. People say, I don't even know there is an OCTV. Because we're way outside of town. We need to be in the nucleus of the community. Like it or not, the village area is the nucleus of this community, of Addison Township, and they've even admitted that out there. So, I don't know. There's my opinion, and I'm lost sleep last night.
Yeah, those are our opinions, and you know, if you have an opinion about this,
Please,
you know, just you know, send us a note, you know, to our website, OCCTV.org.
Yep.
And let us know how you feel out there.
And we would appreciate your support. I know many of you watch us out there, and we are definitely a struggling little station. We beg, borrow, and steal every dime we get that's passed through each entity. So
Maybe not steal.
oh yeah, did I
We
say
take and
steal?
borrow.
Oh, I was just complaining about stealing. Anyway, that's it for Oxford News this week. If you want to learn more about these stories and others, stop by your local store and pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper, or better yet, catch us right here. It's your television station, OCTV Charter Channel 191 and AT&T Channel 99.
Coming up next on Oxford News Week with Oxford Sports with Jamie Hughes. Catch Oxford School News with John Ochins and join Dave Kenny and Auto Talk and Science in the News.
I'm Terry Stiles, and this is Oxford News This Week, where your news is closer to home.
And I garbled through that one, didn't I? And
You
I'm
made
Elgin
it.
Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, this month 2 million Muslims are expected to converge on Mecca, Saudi Arabia for the Hajj. The MERS virus is way ahead of them, prompting concerns that pilgrims may catch and spread the disease. MERS emerged in Saudi Arabia in 2012, and new cases continue to appear. Of the 1,500 cases reported globally so far, 3/4 have been in Saudi Arabia, with more than 500 deaths, including 6 in Riyadh over September 5th and 6th. The worry is that pilgrims will pick up the coronavirus that causes the disease when they travel to Mecca and unknowingly take it back home with them. Earlier this year, MERS arrived in South Korea, where it infected 185 people, 36 of whom died as a result. According to the World Health Organization, or WHO, the recent outbreak in Korea demonstrated that when the MERS virus appears in a new setting, there's great potential for widespread transmission and severe disruption to the health system and society. Saudi Arabia itself is thought to be well prepared for spotting and treating cases after the Hajj begins on September 21st. They have agents on the ground and clinics devoted specifically to MERS, says WHO spokesman Christian Lindemer. He says pilgrims should avoid close contact with people who have flu-like symptoms, report any symptoms immediately, sneeze or cough into their sleeves, and avoid contact with camels, the main reservoir for the virus identified so far. The disease has an incubation period of up to 2 weeks before symptoms appear apparent, and making it important for home countries to be on alert when pilgrims return home to minimize the spread of the virus. So far, many cases have arisen in hospitals where infected individuals have had close contact with staff and other patients. Well, back in the States, when you're tiny, it's good to have big friends in high places. That's how hummingbirds in Arizona manage to protect their eggs and chicks from being eaten by voracious jays. Hummingbirds can nest safely in low boughs surrounding a tree that has a hawk's nest at the top. That's because of the way hawks hunt, swooping on prey like jays, horizontally or from higher up, and as a result, jays stay away from a zone spreading out and down from the top of any tree where hawks are nesting. Jays are agile and can hop around in foliage to rob hummingbirds' nests, so the hawk's presence effectively envelops the hummingbirds in a cone-shaped force field that keeps their eggs safe. The jays are food for the hawks, and the hummingbird eggs are just too small and take too long for a predator like a hawk to find, says Harold Greene, Director of Research at the Yana-Yasu Biological Station in Casanga, Ecuador. Greeley and his colleagues went to the Chiricahua Mountains in southeast Arizona, where they managed to map the positions of hawk and hummingbird nests and track the movements of jays. They found that jays avoided raiding hummingbirds' nest in conical zones beneath the 12 hawk nests they observed over 3 years. It fans out roughly 100 meters in all directions from the hawk nest, says Greeley, and instead, the jays foraged at altitudes above where the hawks are nesting. Greene says that the phenomenon of a key predator providing sanctuary for much smaller species is unprecedented in the bird world, but he doesn't think the hummingbirds consciously seek out that protection. They simply return to sites where they previously had good breeding success, and this happens to be under the hawk's nest, he says. In our last story, going on a paleo diet. Don't put down your porridge just yet. Hunter-gatherers ate oats as far back as 32,000 years ago, way before farming took root. This is the earliest known human consumption of oats, says Marta Mariotti Lippi at the University of Florence, and her colleagues who made the discovery after analyzing starch grains on an ancient stone grinding tool from southern Italy. The Paleolithic people ground up the wild oats to form flour, which they may have boiled or baked into simple flatbread, says Lippi. They also seem to have heated the grains before grinding them, perhaps to dry them out in the colder climate of the time. Lippi notes that this would also have made the grain easier to grind and longer lasting. The multi-stage process would have been time-consuming but beneficial. The grain is nutritionally valuable, and turning it into flour would have made a good way to transport it, which was important for Paleolithic nomads, she says. To see the benefits of a plant-based diet, you only need to know that society has been largely fueled by processed grains for the last 10,000 years, says archaeologist Matt Pope of the University College in London. There is a relationship there to be explored between diet, experimentation with processing plant food, and cultural sophistication. This is another example of the advances made by the Europe's Gravettian culture, which produced technology, artwork, and elaborate burial systems during the Upper Paleolithic period, says Eric Trinkas at Washington State University in St. Louis. These people were described 15 years ago as hunters of the Golden Age, and the details of that are still being filled out. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.
I'm John Ochins, and welcome to the Oxford Wildcats School Update. It was back to the classrooms for our kids last week, including over 90 international students joining our ranks. I sat down with co-directors Chun Chun Tang and Jill Lamont, who filled us in. I asked if they were surprised at that number. And what amazed these kids the most? Co-director Jill Lamont shares more about the kids. About 20 of them are staying with families. And what do you hope most for these students? Co-directors of our international program, Chun Chun Tang and Jill Lamonde. Congratulations are in order for Oxford sophomore Madison Pavlicek. Madison has been playing the cello since the 4th grade, and it has paid off. She is invited to play in Europe next summer with the Blue Lake International Youth Symphony Orchestra. Until now, she's played in the middle and high school's honors orchestras, the chamber orchestra, and the Oakland Youth Orchestra. She has also gone to the Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp for the last 5 years. Congratulations, Madison. Way to go. That's the Oxford School News for this week. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
And welcome back to Oxford News this week. Time for sports. Yes, we are back to school and a lot of great things happening. A couple of big defensive plays and a stellar night for running back Wyatt Harden notched Oxford their first win of the season. 21-19, that was over Stony Creek. Harden rushed for 185 yards on 25 carries, scored twice on runs of 23 and 1 yard. His block of an extra point attempt in the second quarter proved to be a big play as the Cougars' failure to convert on 2 for their extra points provided Oxford the winning margin. The Wildcats host Troy Athens, 7 o'clock. It's the annual Hall of Fame game for the Wildcats. Bud Raleigh said he was pleased with the play of his team, especially after coming off that drumming loss against Romeo last week. And by the time this comes out, this will already probably be in your hands, and hopefully you can get your hands on one of these. Fans attending the first Oxford home varsity Wildcat game this Friday will get a complimentary program. The program is a collaborative rate between Sherman Publications and Oxford's own football coach, Bud Raleigh. As it is done for many years, Sherman Publications' composition department laid out the entire program free of charge. Then the Oxford-based company paid for the printing of 2,000 copies. Oxford pounded the pavement and secured all the advertising for the program. This program makes a wonderful keepsake of the season and could actually one day be worth $1 or $2, considering a lot of the Wildcats make it to the Big Ten and other colleges as well as the NFL. So keep that program. Well, the Oxford boys varsity soccer team has already kicked off a season at 4-0-1. You've seen some of them games here on OCTV. Head coach John Thaler expects tough play throughout the rest of the season. There are a lot of parity in the OAA White. There are a lot of good teams. There are going to be a lot of battles out on the green. Thaler said they're going to be really close 2-1 games like we've seen most of the part of the time. Speaking of tough play, Thaler looks at Stony Creek, Rochester Adams, Clarkston as teams to watch and look out for. Stony Creek plays tough teams on the schedule. Same with Clarkston. They always seem to peak at the right time, according to Coach Thaler. Clarkston knocked them out of the state tournament last year. Adams is also tough as well. Again, a pretty tough league for soccer. And John Thaler says they are looking forward to another rematch that's coming up on September 24th. It's our neighbors from the south, the Lake Orion Dragons. Jump into the pool now. Oxford varsity girls swim and dive team took their first plunge into the season away, and they were in Hazel Park when they did that, September 3rd. The Wildcats outswam the Vikings. Good stuff here. 149-26. Check out this week's Oxford Leader. You can look at all the results and all their activities that they had in the pool. And we always expect great things on the volleyball court. The Oxford varsity volleyball team improved their record 13-4-2 after beating Walled Lake Western in 3 matches. The girls won the first match 25-8. Match number 2, 3 were 25-13 victories. Top scorers of the game, Marie Mathias, 9 kills. Nicole Elzerman, 6 kills, 3 aces. Grace Wisaki had 6 kills, and libero Haley Hardwick with 7 digs and 4 aces. Congratulations, ladies. Hopefully you'll catch some of those games on OCTV. Hey, keeping up with your sports scores and all the things going on in the athletic department, you can easily log on their website. Their website right here, oxfordathletics.org. Again, that's oxfordathletics, one word, .org. It gives you schedules, where they're going to be, when they're going to be there. Just a great link if you have an athlete in the Oxford system. Speaking about websites, while you're online, check it out, OCCTV.org. Hit the Programs tab. You can watch on YouTube as well, on demand on your computer, iPad, or phone, wherever you choose to watch all our programs here on OCTV. Not just sports, you can catch meetings as well. We urge you to stay tuned, though, on weekends, Saturday and Sunday, 1 to 6, Oxford Sports, right here on OCTV. Again, OCCTV.org is your link to this television station. That's going to wrap it in Sports. Go Wildcats. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next week. I'm Jamie Hughes. Enjoy your week.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, the Toyota Prius, a household name that has come to define hybrid cars for nearly 2 decades, was reborn September 8th with the introduction of a bigger, more fuel-efficient model for 2016. Toyota didn't release powertrain details on the redesigned and re-engineered Prius, but the company promised the 2016 version will be lighter, 10% more fuel-efficient than its predecessor, and rare for virtually any hybrid, fun to drive. Fuel efficiency gains resulted from smaller and lighter components in the hybrid system, denser batteries that pack more energy, and a more efficient internal combustion engine, Toyota said. The outgoing 2015 Prius with a 1.8-liter engine is rated at 51 miles per gallon in the city, 48 on the highway, and 50 miles per gallon combined. The 2016 Prius is the first vehicle from Toyota to ride on the company's all-new modular platform that will underpin future models like the Corolla and the Camry. The new platform gives a retooled Prius a lower center of gravity for better handling. The car is also 2.4 inches longer, 0.6 inches wider, and 0.8 inches lower than the Prius before it. The changes mean more occupant and cargo room, Toyota said. The Prius will also feature an all-new rear double suspension and more rigid body to improve ride and driving dynamics. The hatchback profile carries over, but the 2016 version wears aggressively styled sheet metal, especially in the rear, which echoes Toyota's Mirai hydrogen fuel cell car. The newest styling will still distinguish the Prius from anything else on the road. With more than 3.5 million sales since its debut in 1997, the Prius holds a healthy audience. The 4th generation Prius is also among the first Toyota products in the U.S. to come with the optional Toyota Safety Sense system, which packages together safety features such as pre-collision braking with pedestrian avoidance, lane departure warning, and radar cruise control. The new Prius is expected to go on sale at the beginning of next year. And on the retail front, TrueCar gained a key ally with the announcement that it will partner with Sam's Club to offer members access to new car buying program. The auto buying program will allow Sam's Club, a membership-only warehouse division of Walmart Stores Incorporated, to offer targeted savings through TrueCar on specific brands as well as potential savings on future service and repairs. The partnership aims to compete with a similar dealership referral service available through Costco, one the company says led to just under 400,000 new and used car sales in 2014 alone. In addition to TrueCar's claim of an average of $3,000 in savings off the sticker price, at least 12 automakers will offer Sam's Club members specific incentives through TrueCar, though TrueCar declined to specify which automakers offered such discounts or how often. Also, the program offers deductible reimbursement for up to $500 twice a year if the vehicle is involved in an accident or needs service. Used car buyers will get 3 days to return their new purchase, and all buyers may get up to $2,000 in reimbursement for repairs. On the recall front, Fiat Chrysler Automobiles says it's conducting a safety recall of an estimated 1.1 million trucks in the U.S. to inspect and service wiring harnesses. An investigation by the company has discovered that certain trucks may have steering wheel wiring harnesses that wear because of contact with a spring, according to the FCA. Such wear may cause a short circuit that may lead to inadvertent driver's side airbag deployment. Yikes. The company said it's aware of 2 related injuries, but no accidents. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.
Don't miss Schooling Around with John Ochins, weekdays at 11 in the morning and 10 at night, keeping it local.
I'm going back to school, no more vacation. I gotta get my